the representation you deserve or something like that. And you deserve it. I mean, they're flipping you off with both hands right in your face. Hey, will you fight for the $15 minimum wage? No, I won't. Well, we need the $15 minimum wage. That's like, what in the? Like, they'll go and tweet like that we need it, but they won't do the actual. I can tweet about it. You know what I can't do? I can't withhold my vote on the must-pass bill. That's what they should be doing, is withholding their vote on a must-pass bill and holding press conferences and telling people what they're doing and raising awareness. They're not doing anything except tweeting. That's what I do.
Yeah,
well, you know how they say that people like to say, they said I was an approved grassroots organizer if they're forced to vote? Well, I did organize a town hall that got 100,000 people there, and none of them showed up to it. So I don't know what you call that. I would call that organizing.
Yeah, well,
there were more people at that fucking town hall than are members of the DSA.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to my next question for you, which is that a lot of people, say a lot about, the responsibility that people who are in this space have, which is, I guess, sharing their opinions on the internet, telling jokes, whatever, making people want to watch their program, right? And I'm just wondering if you have a reaction to that. It seems like the more attention a show gets, people want to demand that you kind of change exactly what got you to the dance in the first place, right? As soon as people actually watch what the fuck you're doing, it's like, oh, all you're covering is this one thing that I don't want you to fucking talk about. Like, go back to doing your show the way you did it when nobody fucking watched it. And obviously your show is at a scale that's wildly more successful than ours, but but you get the scale, that criticism at a scale that's also, I feel like, wildly more. So I just wondered if you had a reaction to that.
Well, yeah, I used to tell them at the Young Turks, I try to remind them, hey, we're supposed to be alternative. We're supposed to be the alternative to the establishment news. We're supposed to give the alternative. And when people, in the last 4 years, I don't know if you guys owned the television, but if you turned on cable news, it was Trump, 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 instead of how we got Trump, 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 Trump. And so that was my mission at my show, was to show everybody how we got Donald Trump, and everybody else's mission was to exploit Donald Trump outrage for clicks. The Young Turks don't get a fuck any traction unless they put Donald Trump, and they were doing that constantly. And I kept telling them, would you guys cover something else? I mean, the reason why I started Aggressive Progressives was because none of us could stand watching that fucking show anymore. Nobody could watch the main show at the Young Turks who worked at the Young Turks. It was such garbage. Fucking loser Donald segment after loser Donald segment. You're doing an hour show and 55 minutes of it is about Donald Trump. You're not an alternative to fucking anything. But now we know why they were doing that, because they were recording Clinton's donor vote money. That's what that. And so people come to me and go, why don't you ever go after the Republicans? Because I think people have that covered. The problem isn't that we have a Republican Party. The problem is there isn't an opposition to them. That's the problem. No. And that's what my show is pointing out. And so, yeah, it's hilarious when people want to tell me how I should do my show. It's like, you can go do your show. I'll do my show. You go do your show. And my show will actually be serving the public and providing a service. Yours will be doing bullshit club releases on fucking Donald Trump, Orange Man, bad outrage for clicks.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue into a question I had for you, and you kind of briefly mentioned it already, but going back to TYT, I used to love TYT back in the day when you were on the panel, and not just because of the excitement of the Bernie campaign, but also because it genuinely did seem like they were more interested in facilitating real conversations about lefty politics and stuff like that, and speaking truth to power. At least that's how I remember it. I've grown since then and matured myself a lot, but I think since 2016, or around that time, it's undeniable that the network has just gone noticeably downhill. It's almost barely recognizable these days if you turn it on, in my opinion at least. And I was just wondering if you think that there is a direct correlation between that shift in their quality and programming and corporate cash that was essentially begun to become infused to the company around that time.
100%. Yeah, I mean, they can't swear anymore. I don't know if you noticed that. They stopped swearing. They made us start wearing suit coats, and then, I mean, these are just the surface things. And then I was told by an executive at TYT that we have to move to the center now, and we understand that. And
like someone literally just told you that? Yeah, the Young Turks. Wait, yeah, I don't want to gloss over that. That's so fucked up. They literally were like, "Oh, pacify yourself." Like,
shut the fuck up about being too, like, worked up about progressive politics at the Young Turks?
I was complaining. I was lamenting about what the fuck was going on and how, you know, you guys aren't really alternative news anymore. I remember what I said was I always knew what I would do if Fox News bought the Young Turks, but I didn't know what I would do if Young Turks just became Fox News. And this is what I feel like has happened. And you guys are just garbage now, doing McCarthy smearings of your flag and repeating CIA talking points uncritically. You're even smearing Julian Assange. They even smeared Julian Assange, and they still won't take that video down. While he's being tortured and prosecuted by Donald Trump, Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian tell the world, their whole audience, that he's working for Donald Trump, as Donald Trump's trying to kill him. I don't think there's anything more disgusting you can do in the journalism space than what they did. And their reputation, they should be over for doing that. And all they got is bad faith attacks against me, and everybody sees through it now because finally I'm able to tell the truth about it. I don't feel any sense of loyalty to them at all. Because when I decided to do Force the Vote, their executive producer, Anna Kasparian, decided to smear me in public for absolutely no reason in the most vague way. She didn't have anything. She just didn't like me. And this guy's a bad guy. And this is a great idea, but he's a bad guy, and I want everybody to know that. This guy who worked for us for 10 years made millions of fucking dollars for the Young Turks. Millions of dollars for them. This guy, he's a bad guy. I want you to know that now that he left. And by the way, he bit his tongue for 4 years while we pushed an evidence-free conspiracy theory. And he bit his tongue. Well, I'm not biting my tongue anymore. And now, I don't know if you watch their show, but their live stream viewers, they get half the live stream viewers that a pothead jagoff comedian in his fucking garage gets. That's what great crisis counselors they are. They decided that the smart play for Force the Vote was to try to discredit Jimmy Dore. Well, I think we know who won that fight now.
Yeah. And it's just trash these days. Like, even if your politics don't necessarily align with the politics of what they're espousing anymore, just from a objective standpoint, the curation of topics is poor, the guests they have on is poor, the way the show is set up and run.
What is the difference between their show and MSNBC?
Yeah, it's dog shit.
It's dog shit. They bring on people that call Brianna Joy Gray and Uncle Tom. They walk them on their panel.
Yeah.
Walk them on their panel.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, that's Bernie's press secretary.
Yeah.
And those people they got another guy, Josh Fox, who has a show over there. He's not even allowed at the WBAI studios anymore for sexual harassment, and he stole money from the indigenous people. And who gives him a show? Fox. DYT, of course you're welcome over here. Because he's a place he got caught grifting, taking money from fucking corporations. He tried to shut down Michael Moore's movie that exposed their grift. And who does he got a job with? Fucking Cenk Uygur and TYT. Of course he does. They're garbage. They're 100% garbage. They're spiraling out of control. They did a televangelist-style fucking fundraising for a whole year. They would tell you to send them money. In December, when people were desperate, they would say, send us money, and we'll give you so we can give you the $2,000 checks. Send us money. That's what the Young Turks were doing. So that's why people, I guess I'm polarizing, because I call out people who are actually full progressives and are here to sheepdog us into a pro-war corporate party.
It's annoying.
That's what the Young Turks are here to do.
Yeah, and it's annoying to me because we were talking about, using your platform irresponsibly or whatever, but, spreading lies about Julian Assange, that is the irresponsible way to use your platform when you have that many subscribers. And again, I just think it's ridiculous that that's not more often pointed out. I think there's a level of hypocrisy exposed in the way that commentators are covered.
I would agree. Why am I the only one who pointed out the Young Turks smeared Julian Assange? Why am I the only one who did that? Why is no other fucking YouTube show covering that? Why? Because they all want to get a guest spot on the Young Turks at some point in their life? I guess the answer is yes. My advice to those people is look who's getting fucking bigger numbers. They're just another YouTube channel now. They're nobody. They're Cenk Uygur. They've thrown it all away. And they did it for corporate cash, and so they had to suck up to the Democratic Party. They had to smear real activists who were doing Force the Vote. They had to smear Julian Assange, actual journalists, and now they're smearing fucking Glenn Greenwald as they're protecting Taylor Lorenz at the New York Times. That's what the Young Turks, that's their brand of journalism. They couldn't be bigger shit lips.
And I guess, do you think that's, I guess there's definitely a fracturing going on in YouTube, but it seems almost as if people have sort of gone that way as a way to avoid censorship, maybe. I guess that would be the most generous way that you could possibly, obviously, in case of TYT, it would be to chase, millions of dollars. But there has been a wave of censorship that has come across YouTube. I know both of our shows have talked about what's going on with Status Quo. They're, walking on glass right now, essentially running out of money. I'm wondering if you have, at your show, experienced any issues like that with YouTube, or is that something that you haven't had a problem with?
It's maddening what's happening with YouTube. They're wrecking YouTube, of course, and where they're doing it, why? Because they think it was going to give them more corporate profits. And what do I mean by that? Well, we are a threat to CNN and MSNBC and the establishment news shows. They've admitted so on air. They were complaining that there are some YouTube channels that get more views than CNN. Yeah, that's right. And they were like, we have to clamp down on them, right? And so what YouTube is doing is they don't want to have another negative article on the front page of the New York Times saying that YouTube is putting ads on Nazis' videos, right? Which is what the New York Times did. And so did CNN, and then they stuck me in that article at CNN to smear me, right? And the reason why they're doing that is because we're a competitor to them.
Come on, ask the question, Gavin. Ask the question.
Trump is no longer in the headlines. CNN's ratings, MSNBC's ratings, ABC, they're all crashing. And so now there's been a big wave, a big ramp up in censorship. You've seen everybody getting demonetized left and right. And, of course, every day I wake up, I'm afraid to see what's happened to my channel. And when you talk to the people at YouTube, I'm lucky enough to be able to talk to them. They're not allowed to admit that there's even two different algorithms, something that YouTube has even publicly already admitted. The people that they're going to, for breaking news, they're going to favor authoritative news sources. So there is two algorithms that they're admitting to right there. So like if I try to cover, if there's a shooting, mass shooting, and I try to cover, I'm not allowed to even cover it. They will take down that video. But CNN is, and Vox is, and the Daily Beast is, and MSNBC, but we're not. So it's not a level playing field at all. The Silicon Valley, meaning Facebook, YouTube,